Hey Gen Z, challenge time. Can you remember the entire chapter 1 without Rattamar? Sounds impossible? Wait till you see my magic words. Learn them with me and then recall the entire chapter. Let's go. In today's class, we'll cover the entire chapter 1, that is Entrepreneurship, Concept and Functions. As we move through the chapter, I will also explain quick memory tricks, that's called magic words, wherever needed. Now, without wasting any time, let's begin our first chapter of class 11, Entrepreneurship. The word entrepreneur comes from the French word entreprendre, meaning to undertake. First used by Richard Cantillon, who is also known as father of entrepreneurship. Richard Cantillon was an Irishman living in France way back in 1500. Let's start the chapter now. Let me tell you a true story. In 2001, a massive earthquake hit Gujarat. Thousands of homes were destroyed in one potter's village. Newspaper wrote a heartbreaking headline about it. What was the headline? Poor man's fridge lying shattered in the rubble. That headline was for the earthware or the mitti ka ghada. Most people would have just grieved and moved on. But one potter, Mansukh Bhai Prajapati, looked at those broken pieces and thought, what if I made a fridge out of clay? And that fridge which runs on zero electricity? That idea became Mitti Cool. And today it's sold across India for as little as rupees 3000. This story has everything we need to understand today's topic. That person who invented this fridge is an entrepreneur. Mansukh Bhai Prajapati is the entrepreneur in this story. What he did, Mansukh Bhai did, is called entrepreneurship. And the Mitti Cool, the company which he created, is the enterprise. So here is the most important line in this whole topic. And this is very important for your 1 mark question. That is, entrepreneurship is defined by results, not by attributes, which means, so entrepreneurship is judged by results, not by the promises or not by the talks. Now, quick question for you. Is a vegetable seller or a newspaper vendor a entrepreneur? Can you guess the answer? Actually, yes. Maybe they are not hugely innovative, but they are risk takers. They put their own money on every single day. It exists in degrees, which means a vegetable seller may be bearing less risk in comparison to Infosys, but entrepreneurship is in every business. Entrepreneurship has evolved from being product centric to idea centric. What does it mean? Earlier businesses succeeded by making products like cars, clothes or watches because competition was limited. But today products alone are not enough to stay in the market. The winning businesses are those with innovative ideas that solve real customer problem. For example, Zomato did not invent food. It reinvented the way we order. Mumbai Dabbawalas don't make lunch. They have mastered the idea of delivering it efficiently. So remember, earlier businesses sold products. Today they sell the solution. Earlier they sold products, but now they sell the ideas. So now here is the something that trips up almost every student and even working professional mix it up. Is entrepreneurship and enterprise are one and the same thing? No, they are 3 different words. Let me give you the easiest trick to remember, which you will never confuse again. Entrepreneur is the person, entrepreneurship is the action, and enterprise is the outcome. Think of a chef cooking a dish for you. The chef is the entrepreneur. The cooking process is the entrepreneurship, and the dish which he is making is the enterprise. Simple, right? So, if you got this right, you are already ahead of many students. Let's understand the next topic, that is characteristics or features of entrepreneurship. These are the characteristics or features of entrepreneur. We'll understand it by using a very simple example of Ritesh Agarwal. We all know Ritesh Agarwal. So let's, instead of memorizing these characteristics, let's understand them through one entrepreneur. And that entrepreneur is Ritesh Agarwal, the founder of OYO. His journey reflects almost all the qualities of a successful entrepreneur. The first quality is entrepreneur develops and owns his own enterprise. Like Ritesh started and built Oyo instead of working for someone else. He is a moderate risk taker because Ritesh left college to pursue his business idea and after identifying a market opportunity. An entrepreneur is an innovator. He introduced a new business model by standardizing budget hotels under one brand. An entrepreneur is a follower of deviant pursuits, which means follows different paths than others. Like in case of Ritesh, while many of his friends were looking for jobs, but Ritesh chose to become an entrepreneur. They are independent, of course. Ritesh wanted to build his own business and make his own decision. They always try to do something better. So he always tries to improve. He continuously improved Oyo's services and technology. Entrepreneur is always dissatisfied with his routine activities, dislike routine work. Instead of choosing a regular career, he focused on solving travelers' problems. So an entrepreneur is one who always withstands his hard life. So they are hardworking. Ritesh traveled extensively and worked tirelessly to grow up his startup. Then determined but patient. So in case of Ritesh, he faced many challenges but never gave up. Then exhibit a sense of leadership. In case of Ritesh, he built and managed a large team as Oyo expanded. Exhibit a sense of competitiveness. They are competitive. Ritesh competed with established hotel chains by offering better value. They takes the responsibility. Whenever Oyo faced criticism, the company worked on improving its services. They are future oriented. They always work toward the future. Oyo expanded from India to many other countries. Then last but not the least, tends to persist in face of adversity. Never give up. Even during difficult times like pandemic, COVID time, he adopted his business instead of quitting. So students, next topic is different topics. Experts have different entrepreneur perspective. So let's understand those perspective. In our book, there are two perspectives. One is entrepreneur, economic, other is social. And according to economists, an entrepreneur is the fourth factor of production because they combine land, labor, capital to produce goods. But according to sociologists' perspective, our sociologists believe entrepreneurship is shaped by society, culture and family background. That is why communities like Marwadis and Gujaratis are often known for their entrepreneurial mindset. So what's the difference between economic and sociologist mindset? Easy difference to remember is economists ask what does an entrepreneur do, but sociologists ask why do some people become entrepreneur. Done? Great. One concept mastered. Now let's see these definitions. Now good news for you. You don't have to don't be afraid. You don't need to memorize these definitions. Just remember the author and the keywords. That's what usually matters in exam. Because examiner can ask you to identify who has given this definition. So first definition is from Richard Cantillon, who said entrepreneur is the one who buys and sells different goods at different prices. Basically, according to him, entrepreneurship is betting. Adam Smith said entrepreneur builds a business to supply the goods. Joseph Scumter says entrepreneur is the one who entrepreneurs who finds and who according to him, entrepreneurs are innovative. According to Peter Drucker, entrepreneur is the one who an entrepreneur always looks for change. Fine. Quick check. Can you now tell me the difference between an entrepreneurship and an enterprise? If yes, congrats students, you have understood the concept. So let's see the definitions. These definitions are easy once the concept is clear. So who is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a person who identifies an opportunity, organizes resources, takes calculated risk and start and manage an enterprise. They learn these four words. This is the definition of your entrepreneur. So what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is the process of identifying opportunities, organizing resources and identifying and managing an enterprise. Identifying and managing an enterprise. So let's see what is an enterprise. An enterprise is a business organization established by an entrepreneur. What it does? Produces goods or provides services and create value for society. Learn these four words. Your definition of enterprise is ready. So what is the difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneurship? Keep it in your mind. They are the two sides of same coin. Entrepreneur is the person who starts and runs a business. But entrepreneurship is the process of running that business. Entrepreneurship is the process of running that business. One easy trick to remember. The driver is the person and driving is the process. Similarly, in case of entrepreneurship, entrepreneur is the person and entrepreneurship is the process. Clear? So I always say my students, where there is an entrepreneur, there is entrepreneurship. So without entrepreneurship, there is no entrepreneur. They always go hand in hand. Keep this thing in your mind. It can be a 1-marker question in your exam. Now comes one of the most important topics of your chapter. That is 4 functions of an entrepreneur. Think of an entrepreneur wearing 4 different hats. Why 4 hats? Because at every stage of starting a business, they play a different role. Let's follow the journey of one entrepreneur and discover these 4 hats one by one. Hat number 1, entrepreneurial functions. Ready to do that? Let's come to. So entrepreneurial functions are the basic and most important functions performed by an entrepreneur. These are performed by an entrepreneur to start and build a successful business. Here is your first memory magic. Come to the magic memory code, and that memory code is RIO. What's that? R for risk taking. Remember this. The first, risk taking. I for innovation. O for organization building. Okay. I for innovation. So students, innovation simply means introducing something new or better. It could be a new product, a new service, or even a better way of doing an existing task. For example, Apple introduced the iPhone, which combined a phone, music player, and internet in one device. This was an innovation. Let's move to the next function, that is risk taking. Every business involves uncertainty. What's the meaning of uncertainty? Which is not certain, which is not sure. So business, when we do the business, outcome is not sure. An entrepreneur takes calculated risk after proper planning because no one can guarantee success. Let's take the example of Dhirubhai Ambani. Dhirubhai transformed barren land into a successful Alfonso mango orchard by believing in his idea despite the risk. Got it? So third function is organization building. Having an idea is not enough, students. An entrepreneur brings together people, money, machines, and materials and manages them efficiently to run the business. For example, when Ritesh Agarwal started Oyo, he brought hotel owners, employees, technology, and investment together to build the company. Can you recall all 3 magic words now? Okay, think without looking at your notebook now. What's that? What are these? RIO, R-I-O. Risk taking, innovation, organization building. Remember this RIO word, and at the click of this, you will remember all the functions. Next functions are your promotional functions. So students, when an entrepreneur gets a business idea, the next step is to convert that idea into reality. The activities performed before actually starting the business are called promotional function. Now imagine you are starting your own business. What would you do first? You will get an idea, investigate that idea, whether it will work or not. Then you will arrange the resources, and finally you will arrange the funds. That's exactly the sequence of promotional functions. So let's remember, let's get back to the magic word. Right? Take your notebook out. So it simply means think, check, arrange, funds. Think, check, arrange, funds. Remember these 4 words. So let's come to the think. Think is the first promotional function, discovery of an idea. Every business begins with an idea. An entrepreneur first identifies a problem or a customer need and then thinks of a business idea to solve it. This process is called discovery of an idea. Example, seeing the increasing demand for healthy food, an entrepreneur decides to start an organic food store. Got it? Second promotional function is detailed investigation. See, having an idea is not enough. The entrepreneur must investigate whether the idea is practical and profitable. He studies customer demands, competitors' cost, and availability of resources and expected profits before making the final decision. For example, before opening a cafe, the entrepreneur surveys the locality to check whether enough customers are available in that area or not. Third promotional function is assembling the requirements. After selecting the business idea, the entrepreneur arranges all the resources required to start the business. These resources include, which are these resources? Land, building, machinery, raw material, employees, technology, and legal permissions. Okay. Now, for example, when you want to start a bakery, then you need to arrange shop, ovens, ingredients, workers, and a food license. So this is the arranging the requirement. Then the fourth entrepreneurial promotional function is financing the proposition. See, no business can start without money. Therefore, the entrepreneur estimates how much capital is required and arranges the funds from personal savings, bank loans, investors, or other sources. For example, a startup founder takes a bank loan and also invests personal savings to start the business. In case of Narayana Murthy, he took loan from his wife. So let's have a quick recap. What was our second magic word? Think, check, arrange, fund. Which means think is for discovery of an idea and a detailed investigation. Check the requirement and fund your proposition. Then we have managerial functions. Students, once the business is established, the entrepreneur has to manage its day-to-day activities efficiently. These responsibilities are called managerial functions. Managing a business is not difficult. If you remember, just 3 codes. First, prepare your team. Then, lead your team. And finally, check your team's performance. So, there are 10 managerial functions. Instead of learning those 10 words, divide them into 3 stages. Stage 1, prepare the team. For that, there are 3 words, POS. Planning, organizing, staffing. Second stage is lead the team. So for lead the team, we have DLCM. D for directing, L for leadership, C for communication, M for manage, M for your motivation. So these are the 4 things which are needed for second stage. Now, what a good leader does? Good leader uses DLCM. So let's come to third stage. Check the work. SCC. S means supervision, C for controlling, and C for coordination. Now, students, finally SCC checks whether the work is done properly or not. So what we did, we divided those 10 functions into 3 stages. Okay. So remember, students, POS, first stage POS, second stage DLCM, third stage SCC. POS, DLCM, SCC. This is much easier to remember those 10 words. So let's discuss them in detail now. First managerial function is planning. So planning means deciding what work has to be done, how it will be done, when it will be done, and who will do it to achieve business goals. Agree? Whenever we do anything, we plan. For example, before launching a new product, an entrepreneur prepares a complete action plan. That's your planning. Then comes the organizing. Organizing means arranging and allocating the resources. Because after planning I need to start the work, but before actually starting I need resources like people, money, machine, material, so that the work is carried out smoothly. For example, an entrepreneur, here's the example of organizing. An entrepreneur purchases machines, arranges raw materials, and assigns work to different employees. Then after arranging the resources, now I need to see the manpower, who I need to do the work. So that's your third function, that's staffing. Staffing means selecting, recruiting, training, and placing the right people in the right job. For example, a restaurant owner hires trained chefs, waiters, and cashiers. That's what staffing is. Then we have directing. Here comes the second stage. Directing. Directing means guiding, instructing, and supervising employees so that they perform their work efficiently. Let's have an example of directing. An entrepreneur explains daily tasks and guides employees to achieve sales target. This is the perfect example of directing. Then we have leadership. Leadership means influencing and inspiring employees to work together enthusiastically. Leader is not the one who leads. Leader is the one who everybody follows. So he ensures that all the employees achieve the goal enthusiastically. Here is an example. During a busy festival season, the entrepreneur motivates the team to serve the customer efficiently. Then we have another function, communication. Communication means sharing information, ideas, instructions between the entrepreneur and the employees. If there is effective communication, only then they will be able to work in a better manner. So what's the example of that? The entrepreneur informs employees about a new marketing campaign. That's your motivation. That's your communication. Now motivation. Motivation means encouraging employees to work with full enthusiasm and give their best performance. The entrepreneur rewards employees with bonuses for achieving sales targets in time, and that not only motivate those employees, it acts as a motivation for other employees also. Another is supervision. Supervision is it means monitoring the employees, oversee the work of the people, employees, and ensuring that it is done correctly and done on time. Like when you do the exam, your teacher supervises whether you're working properly or not. For example, a bakery owner checks the quality of cakes before they are actually sold or given to the customer. And then last but not, here is your second last, which is coordination. Coordination means bringing together the activities of different departments so that everyone should be working towards the same objective. If there is no coordination, everybody will be moving in a different direction. For example, the production and marketing teams work together before launching a new product. Last but not the least is controlling. Controlling means comparing actual performance with the planned performance and taking corrective action whenever required. Here we see that whatever we planned, whether the actual work is done as per our planning or not. For example, if sales are lower than the expected, the entrepreneur changes the marketing strategy. So this is your these are your managerial functions. So managing a business is not difficult. If you remember just 3 codes. What were these codes? First, prepare your team, POS. Lead your team, DLSC. Finally, check your team's performance. That is your SCC. So let's, instead of memorizing 10 words, divide them into 3 stages. This is very important. Learn it thoroughly, okay? First, set your position. That is POS. Second, lead the team. A good leader uses DLCM. Stage 3, check the work. Tell them. Finally, SCC checks whether the work is done properly or not. So instead of learning these 10 functions, just remember this magic word. Okay? POS, DLCM and SCC. This is much easier. I hope you all agree with this. Now, let's move to our next function, that is commercial function. Till now, what you will say? Done? Great! One concept mastered. So, let's move to commercial function. Students, apart from managing the business, starting the business, promoting the business, managing the business, an entrepreneur also performs some very important function. They are commercial functions. These functions help in smooth operations and growth of business. Here is the easiest one in the entire chapter, because I just give 5M formula for this. And that's 5M formula which every entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur follows is, here 5M means make money, manage, market, measure. Make money, manage, market, measure. 5M word means commercial functions. Make means production. Money means, make means production. Money means finance. M means market. Fine. Personal, market, and manages personal, M for market, and here measure for accounting. Remember these 5 words. Let's discuss them in detail now. Production. Production means converting raw material into finished goods or providing services that satisfy customer needs. Agree? For example, a furniture company converts wood into tables and chairs. Second is finance. Second function is finance, which is very important, lifeblood of a business. Finance means arranging, managing, and properly utilizing funds required for business. For example, an entrepreneur takes a bank loan to purchase new machinery. That is finance. Then third is marketing. Marketing means, what is the meaning of marketing? Identifying customer needs and promoting products and selling them to customers. For example, a clothing brand advertises its new collection on Instagram to attract new customers. And then the second last is personal. Personal function is basically related with the manpower. It means managing employees by recruiting, training, and evaluating and ensuring their welfare. For example, a company conducts training programs to improve employees' skills. So here, which function is performed by the company? That is personal function. Last but not the least is accounting. We want to know the financial health of the business. For that, entrepreneur performs the accounting function. Accounting means recording, classifying, and analyzing financial transactions to know the profit or loss of the business. For example, the entrepreneur maintains records of daily sales, expenses, and profits. So what's our 5M formula? Every successful business follows. What is that? Remember, we did it in the starting. Let's come to the magic code of 5M. Make money, manage, market, measure. Make money, manage, market, measure. So make is for production, make is for production, money for finance, make money, manage for personal, make money, manage, market for marketing, make money, manage, market, and measure, what to measure? Finance. So measure is for accounting. So students, badaiyo, congratulations, you have just finished the toughest part. Okay, functions of entrepreneur. Now move to the next topic. That's need for entrepreneurship. Why does a country need entrepreneurship? Very simple. Think of entrepreneurship as the engine of a car. The economy is the car, and without an engine, it simply does not move. Let's understand need of entrepreneurship with an easy example. Students, instead of memorizing 6 points, time for magic code. Just remember the word eclipse. Remember the word eclipse. Because with eclipse, you will remember the 6 needs of entrepreneurship. E for employment opportunities. C for change and inclusive growth. L for lifeline of nation. I for innovation. P for increased profits. S for social benefits. And got it? So let's discuss them in detail. L for lifeline of nation. Okay, students, entrepreneurship is called the lifeline of a nation. You know why? Because no country can achieve economic development without entrepreneurs. They start new businesses, produce goods and services, create wealth, and contribute to the country's growth. In fact, the level of entrepreneurship in a country is considered a yardstick to measure the development you have achieved. You can check the keywords on my screen which you have to write down in your exam paper to score full marks. If you write down these keywords, your examiner will definitely give you full marks. Let's have an example. For example, like USA, Japan, India have rapidly grown. What's the reason? Because they have encouraged entrepreneurs to start new business. Okay. So the next need for entrepreneurship is it provides innovation. Entrepreneurs are innovators. They don't just copy existing ideas. They introduce new products, new technology, and new services, or even new ways of doing business. Innovation increases the productivity of resources and makes life easier for customers. For example, UPI changed the way we make payments. Agree? Instead of carrying cash, today we can transfer money instantly using our mobile phones. And the keywords for this are also written on my screen. Make sure you write down these keywords in your exam to get the full marks. The next is it brings change and promotes inclusive growth. the business environment keeps changing because of the technology, customer preferences, and also because of the competition. An entrepreneur has to keep on updating itself. And successful entrepreneur is the one who adapts to these changes and even creates new opportunities for others. This leads to inclusive growth, where the benefits of development reach more people. For example, the growth of e-commerce has created opportunities not only for big companies but also for small shopkeepers, artisans, delivery guys, and local sellers. So this is how entrepreneurship is. That's why entrepreneurship is needed in every country, in every economy. And India is the best example of it. You can understand. You all will agree with me. So next need is increased profits. An entrepreneur always looks for ways to increase profits. This can be done either by increasing sales or by producing goods at less cost. Since increasing sales is not always in entrepreneurs' hands, so what they are left with? They are left with just to control the cost. So they look for better technology, better innovation, and efficient use of resources so that they can reduce cost and earn higher profits. Let's move to an example. A factory that installs automated machines can produce more goods at a lower cost, leading to higher profits. Agree with me? So this is the reason why it helps in increasing the profits. Next, it helps in creating employment opportunities. Whenever a new business starts, it creates jobs for many people. As the business grows, more employees are needed, which increases employment opportunities in the country. Agree with me? For example, when a new automobile company sets up a factory, it provides jobs to engineers, technicians, drivers, accountants, security staff, and many others. And the next is social benefit. How entrepreneurship brings the social benefit? Students, social benefit means that entrepreneurs benefit not only the entrepreneur but also the society. It improves the standard of living by providing better quality of life and by providing quality services and products at reasonable prices. It also makes optimum use of scarce resources, limited resources, and contributes to the overall prosperity of the society. For example, affordable generic medicines. Companies provide quality medicines at lower prices, benefiting millions of people who cannot afford the high companies and the large companies, the expensive medicines. So this is how entrepreneurship is very much needed in every country. So let's give a quick revision to it. What was the magic word? The magic word was eclipse, where E for employment opportunities, C for change and inclusive growth, and L for lifeline of the nation, I for innovation, P for. You remember? Don't look at the notebook. Profits, increase profits. S for social benefits. And finally, what is ready? Eclipse is ready. So remember the word eclipse and you will never forget the need for entrepreneurship. The myths of entrepreneurship. See, many people have wrong beliefs about entrepreneurship. These false beliefs are called myths. In this topic, we will separate myths from reality. This will help you understand the real world of entrepreneurship. And it's time for magic code, so that you should remember these magic codes, these topics till the end of your final exams. As we know, this topic is related to startups. So let's use the word startup itself to remember all the myths. You can see on the screen. Every letter reminds you of one common misconception about entrepreneurship. Since the topic is about entrepreneurship, so I found this startup word more relevant. First, startup for S is starting a business is easy. S for starting a business is easy. Then T for talent alone brings success. This is a myth in the mind of people. Talent alone brings success. A for attractive industries always succeed. R for rich. Every entrepreneur becomes rich. T for tons of money are needed. And then we have U. U for use of debt is not possible. P for public banks don't lend money to startups. So remember this startup word, and from this you will remember all the myths. So first myth, let's come into detail. First myth is starting a business is easy. This is what people say, that it's very easy to start a business. But what's the reality? Starting a business is easy, but making it successful is difficult. An entrepreneur has to arrange money, find customers, face competition, and solve many challenges. Only then startup can work. So even many startups are there which close within first few years. So starting a startup is not easy. For example, opening a cafe is easy, but attracting customers and earning regular profit is the real challenge. The keywords for this topic you can see on my screen. Second myth is it takes a lot of money to finance a business. So a business needs a lot of money. An entrepreneur needs a lot of money to start a business. This is a myth actually. A good business idea is more than important than a huge amount of money. Many successful businesses, started with very little capital. Even your Lijjat Papad started with just 80 rupees of debt. Capital by controlling cost. So for example, Infosys, we read it earlier also, Infosys was started with only rupees 10,000, and that too he borrowed from his own wife. And so it proves that success depends more on the idea than on huge investment. Next myth is startups cannot get loan. Startups can't be financed with debt. So it's a myth that startups can't be startup with loan, but the reality is startups can also be financed through debt, which means loan, such as bank loans. Entrepreneurs don't always need investors. They can borrow money and repay it later. So it's not like I cannot borrow the money. You can borrow the money and start a business. For example, a person opening a bakery may take a mudra loan from bank instead of giving ownership to investors. And next point we have is banks don't lend money to startup. This is another myth, that banks don't lend money to startup. They don't give the money. But the reality is today banks and the government encourage entrepreneurship. So there are various loan schemes. They provide financial support to eligible entrepreneurs so that more and more entrepreneurship should grow. For example, schemes like PM Prime Minister Mudra Yojana help small entrepreneurs start their businesses even with very less amount of capital. So next we have is most entrepreneurs start business in an attractive industry. Again, this is a myth that entrepreneur chooses an attractive industry. Attractive industry means an industry in which maximum people are doing business. This is wrong. Reality is successful entrepreneurs don't follow the crowd. They identify problems and create opportunities, even in the unusual industries. For example, in your book also example is given of Mahima Mehra. Mahima Mehra started Hathi Chhap by making handmade paper. You know what? That handmade paper is made up of elephant dung. A unique idea that nobody had even thought of before. This is another. Then next is the growth of a startup depends more on the employee's talent than on the business. This is a myth. Success depends only on the entrepreneur's talent. This is wrong to say. Talent is important, but choosing the right industry is equally important. Even a talented entrepreneur may struggle if the market demand is low. For example, during the Y2K period, which was during the year 2000, many IT companies grew rapidly because the industry itself had huge demand. And let's come to the next point. Next is most enterprises are successful financially. This is again a myth that entrepreneur can easily become rich. That's a myth. Not every entrepreneur earns huge profit. Some businesses succeed while many earn only average profits or even incur losses. For example, many local shops run successfully for years but earn only a modest income, whereas only a few startups become companies and earn huge amount of money, like Infosys and Zomato. Zomato became a unicorn within few years only. So it's not like every industry is successful. Okay, so what was the magic word? Remember that magic word. That's the main thing here. So the magic word was startup. Let's give it a quick reason. Don't look at the notebook. S for starting a business is easy. Second myth. T for talent alone brings success. A for attractive industries always succeed. And then we have R. R for rich, that every entrepreneur becomes rich. Then we have T. What was T? T for tons of money is needed. Lot of money is needed to start the business. So for lot we have used the word ton. U for use of debt is not possible. That's wrong to say. P for public banks don't lend. So here is the full form of startup. Now let's move to the next topic, that is advantages and disadvantages of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is like a coin which has two sides. When I say two sides, one is advantage, other is disadvantage, because it offers exciting opportunities, rewards, that's advantages. But on the other side, it also comes with challenges and risks. So let's understand both with simple examples. This is a very important question for your exam. The examiner will definitely ask this question. So what are the advantages of entrepreneurship? Very first is excitement. E for excitement. See, entrepreneurship is full of new challenges and opportunities. Every day brings a new experience and making the journey exciting and adventurous. For example, when Steve Jobs left Apple and started Pixar, which later became a highly successful animation company. So when he left Apple, he was sad. But when he had that excitement, okay, no worries, I'll start something new now. So this is advantage. Second advantage is originality. An entrepreneur gets the opportunity to convert a unique idea into a new product or service. This encourages creativity and innovation. For example, Apple introduced products like iPod, iPad, which completely changed the way people listened to music and used tablets. So this is another advantage, that you can convert your original ideas into reality. The next is interdependence. In case of an entrepreneur is his or her own boss. He doesn't have to work under anybody, so he has full freedom to make important business decisions without depending on others. For example, a person who starts a boutique decides the products to sell, the prices to charge, and the business strategy. So they have full freedom. Next is rational salary, which means better earning. For in case of entrepreneur, an entrepreneur earns according to the success of the business. There is no fixed salary limit, or high efforts can lead to higher income. So he knows more effort I'll put in, more money I can earn. For example, a successful bakery owner may earn much more than a bakery manager working on the fixed monthly salary. So you get rational salary, more effort, more money you can earn. Last advantage is freedom, which means an entrepreneur can work on any idea. He doesn't need to take anybody's permission. An entrepreneur has the freedom to choose any business idea, introduce innovations, and expand business according to personal vision. He doesn't need to take anybody's permission before taking his idea to next level. For example, Richard Branson started Virgin Galactic because he believed that space tourism could become a successful business in the future. But just think, if Richard Branson would have told anybody that I want to start a space taxi, people would have laughed on it. Oh, I forgot to tell the magic code here. My bad. Let's do the magic, students. Every successful entrepreneur first has an original idea. So that's your O. That's your O. And this original idea ignites the fire. So the R magic word is O, fire. In fire, F for freedom, I for independence, R for rational salary, E for excitement. So what's the formula of advantages? O, fire. Done? Remember it. So originality, freedom, innovation, rational salary, and E for your excitement. Let's move ahead. Next topic we have are the disadvantages. So remember the word wasabi. Learn the word wasabi. You know wasabi, that Japanese sauce. But in our wasabi there is no A. So it is WSABI. So these are the disadvantages of entrepreneurship. So here we are starting with disadvantages of entrepreneurship, where W for work schedule, S for salary, A for administration, B for benefits, and I for incompetent staff. So let's start the detailed discussion of all these words. Okay, so let's start it now. The very first disadvantage which an entrepreneur has to face in case of entrepreneurship is of no fixed salary. Unlike a salaried employee, an entrepreneur has no guaranteed monthly income. Income depends entirely on the performance of the business. Better business, better income. So, for example, if sales are low in a particular month, the entrepreneur may not even earn any income. So that's the negative point for this entrepreneurship. Second is benefits. In case of benefits, the entrepreneurs have fewer benefits. In the initial stages, entrepreneurs usually do not receive benefits like paid leaves, medical insurance, or retirement benefits that employees often enjoy. For example, in case of entrepreneurship, let's say a newly started business owner cannot take paid holidays. Why? Because the business depends entirely on his presence. So there are lesser benefits in entrepreneurship. Next is work schedule. Which means there are unpredictable work hours. Entrepreneur's job is not 9 to 5, it's 24/7. Entrepreneurs often work long hours and irregular hours because they must handle customer issues, employees, and business emergencies at any time. So there are no fixed hours of working for entrepreneurs. For example, a restaurant owner may receive an urgent call late at night if an important customer order has a problem. And next then we have is administration. This is a very big limitation for entrepreneurship. Like a person cannot put his work's blame on anybody else. So this is basically administrative responsibility. The entrepreneur is responsible for every important business decision. A wrong decision can directly affect the success of the business. For example, if an entrepreneur purchases expensive machinery without proper market research, the business may suffer losses, and who will be responsible for all those losses? It's the entrepreneur who will be answerable for losses. He cannot put his blame on his irresponsibilities blame on somebody else. Last but not the least is incompetent staff. In the early stages, entrepreneurs may not always find experienced employees. Therefore, they often have to train and guide their staff themselves. For example, a startup founder spends extra time training newly recruited employees before they become productive. So these are the limitations of disadvantages of entrepreneurship. Ensure you learn these disadvantages very nicely. So what was the magic term? What was the magic code here? The magic code was wasabi. In Japanese sauce wasabi, there is WASABI, but in our wasabi, there is no A. It's wasabi, WSABI. There is only one A. So W for work schedule, which means unpredictable work hours. S for salary, there is no fixed salary. A for administration, so all responsibilities on them. Then we have B for benefits. They have very less number of benefits. Like the benefit which the employee enjoy, entrepreneur does not enjoy such benefits. Then we have I is for incompetent staff. The staff which these entrepreneurs have is not competent enough. Sometimes they themselves have to, because the idea which they generally come up with is not very regular idea. So the employees may lack experience and the entrepreneur may have to suffer there. So students, no successful business is created overnight. Every entrepreneur follows a step-by-step journey from discovering their strengths to finally earning rewards. This journey is called process of entrepreneurship. Let's understand it through the example of Falguni Nair, the founder of Nykaa. Remember, just one word, and that word is discover. Where D is to discover yourself, that's self-discovery. I is identify opportunities. Then we have S is for select the best idea. C is create a plan. And then we have V is for venture begins, startup. E is expand. R is for reap the rewards. Okay, so now let's understand all the steps in detail, and remember you have to learn all these steps in a sequence because it's process. Self-discovery. Every entrepreneurial journey begins with self-discovery. An entrepreneur first identifies his or her interests, strengths, weaknesses, skills and experiences to decide what type of business is suitable. For example, Falguni Nair had years of experience in investment banking. She understood business and realized that India's beauty industry had huge potential. So she decided to jump in this industry. Second step is identifying opportunities. After understanding yourself, the next step is to identify an opportunity. An entrepreneur looks for customer needs, problems or gaps in the market that are not being fulfilled. For example, Falguni noticed that people wanted genuine beauty products online, but very few trusted platforms existed. She identified this business opportunity and started her Nykaa business. Third step of the process is generating and evaluating business ideas. Once an opportunity is identified, the entrepreneur generates different business ideas, compares them, and finally selects the most practical and profitable one. In case of Falguni, she considered different business models and finally decided to create an online beauty platform which is called Nykaa. Next step is planning. A good idea alone is not enough. The entrepreneur prepares a detailed business plan by researching the market, estimating cost, arranging resources, and planning marketing strategies. Before launching Nykaa, Falguni planned the website suppliers, logistics, marketing, and investment requirements. Next step is raising startup capital. Every business needs money. We know that every business needs money to start. Therefore, the entrepreneur arranges funds from personal savings, from investors, from venture capitalists, partners, or banks to fulfill that money requirement. In case of Falguni, she invested her own money and later attracted investors to expand Nykaa. Next one is startup. As for startup, this is the stage where the entrepreneur finally launches the business and starts serving customers and continuously improves the product or service based on customer feedback. Nykaa officially launched its online platform and gradually expanded its customer base across India. Next step is growth. Once the business becomes stable, the entrepreneur focuses on expansion by introducing new products, opening new branches, entering new markets, and adapting to changing customer needs. In case of Nykaa, with the example of Nykaa, it expanded from beauty products to fashion, opened physical stores, and increased its presence across India. Last step is harvest. Harvest is the stage where the entrepreneur enjoys the rewards of years of hard work. This may include earning profits, selling the business, or starting a new venture. With the example of Nykaa, when Nykaa was listed on stock market, when she decided to sell her shares in the market, Falguni Nair earned huge returns, showing the rewards of successful entrepreneurship. So students, remember just one word, and that magic word is discover. Before you leave, don't miss the free resources I have prepared for you. The complete magic code revision sheet that we used in today's video is available through the link in the description. And download it, print it, and use it for your quick revision before exam. I have completed whole chapter in one sheet for you. So make sure you join our WhatsApp community through the link in the description. There you will get assignments, answer keys, important notes, exam updates, and doubt support practice material also. The revision material is also available there. So don't forget to check the description box and make full use of these free study resources. If this video helped you understand the chapter better, please like the video, share it with your classmates, and subscribe the channel so you never miss our upcoming CBSE entrepreneurship lessons. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching, and keep learning, keep growing, and I will see you in the next video.